People talk about the woods like they're empty, like they're just trees, paths, shadows. But the woods aren't empty. Once you walk into the woods alone at night, something notices and it remembers. I used to take the night shift because it paid more. That was the only reason. Every night I finished work at 2 a.m. The factory shut down completely at that hour. Lights off, gates locked, silence everywhere. Most people drove home. I didn't. My house was only about 20 minutes away on foot. The problem was the shortcut. To get home faster, I had to pass through a stretch of woods. During the day, it was harmless, a narrow dirt path, trees on both sides, birds, wind, nothing unusual. I'd walked it hundreds of times without thinking twice. At night, it felt different, but after months of doing it, I stopped paying attention. That night felt colder than usual, not just cold, heavy. The air felt thick, like it hadn't moved in hours. The sky was completely clouded. No moon, no stars, just darkness and the weak orange glow of the streetlights behind me. When I reached the edge of the woods, I hesitated. I don't know why. There was no obvious reason to stop, but something about the silence bothered me. No insects, no wind in the leaves, no distant cars. It felt like the world had muted itself. I checked my phone, 2:07 a.m. I stepped onto the path. At first, everything felt normal. My footsteps on the dirt, my breathing, the trees stretching endlessly on both sides, the familiar curve of the trail. After about 5 minutes, I realized something was wrong. I couldn't hear myself anymore. My footsteps were still there, but softer, like the sound was being absorbed. Even when I stepped harder, it didn't echo the way it usually did. Then I smelled something, damp, metallic, like rust mixed with wet soil. I slowed down. That's when I heard it, a branch snapping behind me. I stopped walking. The sound didn't repeat. I stood there for a long moment, listening. My heart was pounding so loudly, I was sure it would give me away if someone was nearby. I told myself it was an animal. That's what everyone tells themselves. I kept walking. The path curved slightly ahead, and that's when I noticed movement between the trees. Not fast, not sudden, just shifting, like something adjusting its position. I didn't look directly at it.
I pretended I hadn't noticed anything, hoping whatever it was would lose interest. Then I heard breathing, not mine. It was deeper, slower, too controlled, and it was coming from my left. I stopped again. The breathing stopped too. I whispered, "Hello." The word felt wrong the moment it left my mouth. The woods didn't echo it back. I turned on my phone flashlight and swept it across the trees, trunks, shadows, nothing else. I turned the flashlight off. The breathing came back immediately, closer. I started walking faster, fighting the urge to run. Running through those woods in the dark would have been dangerous. Roots, rocks, branches. One fall and I'd be stuck. The smell came back, stronger now, rotten. I reached the midpoint of the woods, the darkest section. No lights, no sky, just the narrow path and the trees pressing in on both sides. That's when I heard footsteps, not matching mine, dragging, uneven, slow. I stopped. They stopped. I turned around. The path behind me was empty, but the silence felt crowded, like something was standing too close without touching me. I could feel it in my chest, like pressure. I don't know how long I stood there. Then I heard it, right next to my ear. Not words, not really, just a sound that felt like someone trying to remember how to speak. That's when I ran. Not fast, not panicked, just enough to keep moving. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Whatever was there didn't feel like something that chased. It felt patient, like it already knew where I was going. When I reached the road, the streetlights were on. Cars passed in the distance. Everything looked normal, too normal. I stood there for a long time, listening to my own breathing, waiting for my heart to slow down. Nothing followed me out. That should have been comforting. It wasn't. I walked home, locked the door behind me, and sat in the dark until morning. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't sleep. Every sound in the house felt wrong, like it didn't belong there anymore. The next day, I told myself it was exhaustion, that fear had filled in the silence, that the woods had always been like that. That evening, I took the long way home. It adds almost 40 minutes. I've never taken the shortcut again, but sometimes, during the day, when I pass those woods from the road, I notice things I don't remember being there before. The dirt path looks wider. Branches near the trail are snapped low, like something tall brushed past them again and again. And just off the path, deep in the mud, there are footprints, not scattered, not random, all facing inward, like something keeps returning to the same place, waiting. Because the woods didn't scare me because something was there. They scared me because something noticed me, and it hasn't needed to follow me since, because it knows where I live.
I started avoiding the woods after that, but sometimes avoidance isn't a choice. A few months later, my car broke down on a back road just outside town. It was close to midnight, and my phone had no signal. The nearest place with lights was a petrol station about a mile away. The problem was the shortcut, a narrow trail through another wooded area that cut the walk in half. I stood at the edge of it for a long time. I told myself this wasn't the same place, different woods, different night. Eventually, I stepped inside. These trees were older, closer together. The ground was uneven, covered in leaves that made every step sound too loud. After a few minutes, I noticed something else. The woods weren't quiet. They were listening. My footsteps sounded normal, but everything else felt delayed, like the forest was reacting just a second too late. Then I heard my name. Not shouted, not whispered, spoken normally, like someone walking a few steps behind me. I stopped. The voice didn't repeat it. I didn't turn around. I told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, my mind filling in gaps again. I started walking faster. Then I heard my name again, closer. I ran. The path twisted sharply, branches scraping my arms, my lungs burning. Then suddenly, the trail just stopped. Not gradually, it ended in a small clearing surrounded by trees. I knew this path. It didn't end here. Behind me, I heard footsteps for the first time, slow, careful, matching my pace exactly when I took a step back. I turned around. There was nothing there. Then my name was spoken again from the trees in front of me, then from the left, then from behind, all at once. Each voice sounded like mine, same tone, same rhythm, like the woods were practicing. I shut my eyes and covered my ears. When I opened them again, the path was back, exactly where it should have been. I didn't question it. I ran until I reached the petrol station, stumbling inside like I'd just woken up from a nightmare. The cashier asked if I was okay. I couldn't answer. I got my car towed the next day. I never went back to that road. After the second time, I stopped telling myself it was coincidence. 2 different woods, 2 different nights, same feeling. Not being chased, not being attacked, just being acknowledged. I don't walk through the woods anymore, not at night, not during the day, because whatever lives in places like that doesn't need to follow you home. It only needs to know where you are. And once it does, the woods don't let go.
I told myself twice was enough. After the second time, I stopped walking near woods completely. I changed my routes. I moved closer to town. I kept lights on at night. I slept with noise in the background so the silence couldn't creep in. For a while, it worked. Then winter came. My mother lives alone on the edge of a rural area. When she slipped on the ice and broke her ankle, there was no question I had to stay with her for a few nights. Her house backs onto a large stretch of forest. Not a trail, not a shortcut, just woods, the kind no one walks through. The first night passed quietly.
So did the second. I started to feel stupid for how tense I was. I told myself this was different. I wasn't alone. I wasn't walking anywhere. I was safe inside. On the third night, the power went out. No storm, no wind, just darkness. My mother was asleep upstairs when it happened. I checked my phone, no signal again. The same dead silence I'd felt before pressed into the house. Even indoors, it felt like the woods were closer than they should be. That's when I heard something outside. Not footsteps, movement. Slow, deliberate movement brushing against the back of the house where the forest began. Not circling, not searching, passing by. I stood in the kitchen, barely breathing, listening as whatever it was moved along the wall, then stopped, right behind me, between the house and the trees. I waited for it to leave. It didn't. Minutes passed, maybe longer. I lost track of time completely. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It felt occupied, like something was standing there simply because it could. Then I heard my name. Not from the woods, from inside the house, upstairs, spoken softly, incorrectly, like someone repeating a word they'd heard but never used. My mother's voice. I knew instantly it wasn't her. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I stood frozen, staring at the dark hallway leading to the stairs. My name came again, closer this time, from the top of the staircase. I forced myself to whisper, "Mom." Silence, then a sound I will never forget. Footsteps, descending the stairs. Too slow, too heavy, each step landing just slightly out of rhythm, like whoever or whatever was using legs it hadn't practiced with. I backed into the kitchen, my hands shaking so badly I could barely stay upright. The footsteps stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Then I heard breathing. The same controlled breathing I'd heard in the woods, not panicked, not rushed, patient. I realized then what had been happening all along. It wasn't following me. It wasn't attached to a place. It was learning. My voice, my pace, my routes, my name. The power came back on all at once. Lights flooded the house. The footsteps were gone. The breathing was gone. My mother was still asleep upstairs. I checked on her immediately. She hadn't moved. She hadn't spoken. She hadn't woken up. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I walked outside for the first time. At the edge of the forest behind the house, the snow was disturbed. Not footprints, indentations, like something had stood there for a long time without moving, facing the house. I packed my things that day. I took my mother with me when she was well enough. I moved again, farther this time, into a busy area. Lights everywhere, people, noise. But it didn't end there. Because now, sometimes, when I'm home alone, when everything is quiet, I hear movement in rooms I'm not in. I hear my name spoken softly from places I haven't been yet, and I understand something I wish I didn't. The woods were never the problem. They were just where it first noticed me. And now that it knows what I sound like, what I look like, how I live, it doesn't need the woods anymore.